Basically, Raila has Ruto by the proverbial balls. Ruto knows to survive in power, he needs Raila. So he's going to sing to every tune that Raila sings.
So
the problem tuko nao Kenya, Bandio, is nobody wants to do, like to start a political movement and make it sustainable. Meaning start slow, get your few votes, and like by starting a political movement, you don't even have to run for president. You can start a movement, sponsor, like civic seats. Mjijenge pole pole. You don't have to start with a president.
Yeah, mina yuna kama chicken and egg.
Because
sababu, I mean, the audience is just is very I don't know how to say. The people in Kenya. Let me ask you this: where do you think there is a big problem? If you
Kenya wanapenda kiki.
Yes. And that's
what is the newest shiny thing out there?
So how are you going to get 6 people, 6 members of parliament, kama watu then are going to vote for it? Because sababu, you really talk about real issues, and we have this even in TZ. If you go there and say, hey, let's work together, tutajenga shule mbili, mwingine anakuja nasema, don't worry, vote for me, hautolipa kila kitu, tutajenga shule 5, and guess where they're going to go for?
But you see, and this answer, like I will not pretend to know the answers.
You are the last party
but I'm looking for answers from Kenyans. Maybe I have, like a slight idea. How do we organize politically outside these major parties that now clearly majority of Kenyans do not like? That is a big question.
What are major parties? I see more of coalitions than parties.
So those major coalitions, like everybody right now in Kenya, everybody is angry. Remember even when Sifuna came here, alisema watu wamekasirika Kenya. Everyone is angry. So at the moment, everyone, like most people are angry at these major coalitions. But then the problem is that they are the only ones who are organizing politically in the long term. Because you have the 2 major coalitions now, the 2 major political parties, that is UDA and ODM, have come together. Of course, Gachagwa's wing of UDA, they have ejected, and now they're organizing. They're organizing with Martha Karua. They might be organizing with Uhuru Kenyatta. So you can see that organization. So we constantly, in every new election, we see these candidates popping up, but they always pop up in the last minute. There's no long-term political organization. Once mtu lose election, like when Peter Kenneth lost, that was it. Like ikitu kama angeendelea kuijenga pole, maybe he would be somewhere right now where he would be able to challenge. Ndo nasema it takes time, because all these other remember when Raila started back in after babake afariki, because Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Kenya's founding vice president, passed away in I think ilikuwa ni 93 ama 94, sometime around there. And then alikuwa ndo mwenyekiti wa Ford Kenya. So there was a fight on who will take leadership, and that's when Raila ended up exiting Ford Kenya and formed his own party. So akaanza kujijenga pole pole from that time. The problem tuko nao Kenya, Bandio, is nobody wants to do, like to start a political movement and make it sustainable. Meaning start slow, get your few votes, and like by starting a political movement, you don't even have to run for president. You can start a movement, sponsor, like civic seats, MCAs, members of parliament. Mjijenge pole pole. You don't have to start with a president.
Yeah, mina yuna kama chicken and egg.
Because
I mean, the audience is just is very I don't know how to say. The people in Kenya. Let me ask you this: where do you think there is a big problem? If you
Kenya wanapenda kiki.
Yes. And that's
what
the
is
problem.
The newest shiny thing out there?
So how are you going to get 6 people, 6 members of parliament, kama watu then are going to vote for it? Because sababu, you really talk about real issues, and we have this even in TZ. If you go there and say, hey, let's work together, tutajenga shule mbili, mwingine anakuja nasema, don't worry, vote for me, hautolipa kila kitu, tutajenga shule 5, and guess where they're going to go for?
But you see, we already have an example in Kenya of someone who's trying to build something that's working, But of
now
course,
you're talking about Raila?
no, I'm not talking about Raila.
Okay.
I'm talking about someone like Okia Omtata. And now you see Okia Omtata, from wherever he started, in fact, where Okia started was outside elective politics. And even when he got into elective politics, he was told he was going to lose because he's not being sponsored by one of the major coalitions. And he won in a county that was an ODM stronghold. And he won, from the outside. So if we can have such people, and I think Okia had already started. I'm just not sure how far, his movement has gone, because we are constantly complaining.
That's my thing.
But we are not organizing. Even within our own spaces here, we are not organizing. Tunangoja kupangwa. Even here in the diaspora, watu wanangoja kuona vile hizo coalitions zitaenda, so that they ndo wajue ni nani watam ni nani watam support or who they'll vote for. And then I think the other problem is that there's a lot of selling of fear, the fear of the other, especially on a tribal basis. Unfortunately, there's fear that's sold of the other, so it sustains this system that we have today. Now, a couple of comments here coming when while Gerald was speaking to us. Sambaza anasema, by the way, they said they're going to popularize the idea of this memorandum of understanding around the country. At whose cost? Question that he's asking. And then Slea anasema, these West African countries are setting the bar high. Burkina Faso, and I forget the other one, I think Niger. These are the Sahel countries. And then Washeke anasema, the bandits consolidated power so they can continue eating. Number to call 202-683-4570, press star 5. And then hapa Steven JJ anasema, wacha warudishe pesa hiyo wameiba back into the economy. Steto imekuwa kubwa juu ya ile wizi walifanya kitambo. Hakuna hapa kusifu mwizi juu aliba kitambo. And then Washeke anasema, Kenyan politicians are landlords in Dubai of high-end properties with your money. And then I can also see Stephen JJ again anasema, the money is being pumped back into the country right now to pass the narrative yao. Slay says Kenya is a joke. Stephen JJ anasema, eventually this will equalize. One side has been seeing this nonsense going on while the other side is suffering. We have had no election since 2002. Politicians are out there for power. The local Raya is waiting for scraps. And then Sambaza father says, the problem is that politics is very expensive. Yeah. If it was made to be one that is kept and the finances were kept to a minimum, like in the European countries, then they would be at least the people who truly want to lead, but otherwise we only have jokers and lawyers who want to be in the government, and that's what we get right now as a result. Yeah, kwa
sababu kama ungekuwa na public funding ambayo inakuwa limited to a certain point, and I think this is why even election Amerikani imeharibika. Kusingekuwa na mambo kwamba as long as the corporate, then you can spend as much as you can.
Super PACs.
So Citizens United is what destroyed like elections in America, because before that there were limits yes. how much you could get.
Yep.
But unakumbuka the famous quote Mitt Romney saying corporations are people. Sasa hapo ndo because it became free speech. Sasa tuseme kama mimi Ali Badawi am running, and then we Mubelo wa Bandio unafanya kampeni yako kando na kampeni yangu, we uja to contact, but you're running your pack independently, so that's considered speech. So here you can spend in an unlimited amount, which is a problem. And
but
then
like in Germany, walikuwa nasema when Elon Musk wanted to buy election or something, he was not allowed to contribute more than $50 or something, right? And that's the reason hakuweza kuinject money, kwa sababu yuko limited to how much he can.
Yeah, na hapa ame contribute more than 250 million.
Yep.
Kwa election ya Trump. And then hapa Sambaza tena anasema, Mandago already told us not to stress on politics. And then Doreen anasema, the speed at which Rao has moved after his failed AU bid makes you wonder if he had already been it had already been planned out. Who knows?
But that will have to happen, because the thing is this. What people don't understand is that There is a power struggle in that parliament in Kenya, right? There is a power struggle of Gashagwa and his folks, which is backed by Kina Uhuru. Then there's a power struggle of Ruto and his folks, and that is where you see Ruto pandering in different areas, trying to talk to different communities to push to bring them to him. And then there's ODM in itself as a threat, as it is. So Ruto knew that he had, these guys were not in good terms. And you saw immediately Raila came, kulikuwa na kelele, ODM were talking boldly about some stuff. And then they went to Mombasa and they sat down and they had a conversation. And I think this is where Ruto told him, you know what, boss, I'm going to give you a few more seats in the government. I'm going to give you A, B, C, D. I'm going to give you this and this. So this marriage that people are looking at it, below, vile Bandio wamesema, tutoe emotions tuache over sensational. These guys have not formed a coalition government in any way. They've signed an MOU. They're going to get people into it. It's going to be a thing of, basically, Raila has Ruto by the proverbial balls. Ruto knows to survive in power, he needs Raila. So he's going to sing to every tune that Raila sings.
So let